It's Sword Prepper here. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about 7 ways to better prepare yourself for the coming collapse without spending a single penny. There are a few ways to do that, I think. A lot of people view prepping as you have to have a bunch of money, or you have to know how you have to be able to spend a bunch of money in order to be a prepper, in order to get ready for anything, and I disagree. Granted, I'm not saying you don't need money. You do need money to buy certain things, to stock up food and things, but there are other ways to do so. So we're going to talk about 7 different ways to do that without spending a single penny. First one, it's alright to miss a meal every now and then. You can practice missing a meal, or say just eat less. I'm not saying every day you should do that. I'm not saying it should be an all the time thing. I'm saying it's a good way to get ready. It's a good way to ready yourself and ready your body to do so. So practice missing a meal every now and then. Say you're working outside, or you're at your job, you're working your 9 to 5, and lunch break comes around. You don't have to go to lunch every time. You can miss out on lunch here and there. Go for a walk instead. Get a glass of water, even a glass of milk. If you want soda, soda's unhealthy, I think, but I know a lot of people drink it. Get a glass of soda and go for a walk. It doesn't have to be food every time. It doesn't have to be a meal every time. So yeah, there's one way. I know a lot of people are gonna think what I'm saying is crazy, or say it's impossible feat, or that I'm just being too hardcore. There is a point where you're too hardcore, but I don't think I'm doing that right now. Second one, every time you go out, you don't have to get food. Stop spending money every time you go out on Starbucks. Don't buy the biggest frappe every time you go to Starbucks. You don't have to hit the coffee shop every time. I like coffee. I like going to the coffee shop. But it's not an everyday occurrence for me. I'm not trying to hire myself in pride or anything, or saying that I'm better than anyone else. I'm not. But it's just a way to, prepare yourself. Mentally and physically prepare yourself for, not having that luxury. Prepare yourself for that. That's a major thing, I think. Preparing yourself to not have the luxury of Starbucks, the luxury of McDonald's all the time. I personally think people shouldn't eat McDonald's and Starbucks every day. It's synthesized and healthy food. Number 3. Go a day without using AC. Pick out a day on your week, maybe not a too hot of day. Try to choose one that's not too hot, and just turn the AC off for the day. Live without it for the day. It's such a common commodity, and such a common trait of the American people, that most people literally would not know how to live without it. In Nigeria or even England, a lot of people don't have AC, but it's not something that they expect to have. Here in America, we're so spoiled. No offense, you fellow Americans, but we're here, so we're so spoiled that we don't know how to live without. AC is such a commonplace thing that it's like it's almost like if we didn't have water, we wouldn't know what to do. So practice a day, choose a day in your week, make it a weekly thing or even a monthly thing. Just turn the AC off for the day, live without it. See how you would fare. Practice that. It's very important to know how you're going to deal with these situations. I say that all the time on this channel. It's very important to know how you're going to deal with these situations. Where were we? Number 4. You can wash your clothes by hand. Practice washing clothes by hand. I'm not saying do it all the time. I personally hate washing clothes, and I hate washing dishes. I hate it. But it's something that's necessary. Practice washing your clothes by hand. Practice, instead of going to the wash house or stuffing your dishwasher, or your clothes washer, your clothes washer. Do it by hand. Just make it a monthly thing. Just remind yourself, teach yourself how to do these things. Learn how you're going to deal with that amount of stress in your life. Wash your clothes by hand. Do that. Figure out how you're going to deal with it. Believe me, a lot of people, trust me when I say this, a lot of people don't know how to wash clothes by hand. If you gave them a bucket of water and even some soap and said, hey, make these clothes make these clothes smell good, or make these clothes de-dirt these clothes, they wouldn't know how to do it. They wouldn't know the first step. They'd put the clothes in the water, switch them around, and take them out and say they washed them. That's not how it works. And there's a lot more to do than that. There's a lot of people in the world that don't know how to. That basic living is foreign. It's a foreign thing, and they don't know how. We need to make that. We need to make that more commonplace. We need to make learning how to live without electricity, without these commonplace luxuries of America. Learn how to make them. Learn how to do it on your own. That's what I'm saying. Learn it on your own. It doesn't have to be the washer every time. Alright, I've rambled on that one enough. Next, take daily walks. I know a lot of people don't have time to do daily walks. I know that. But you should be practicing that. Take daily walks. Learn how to learn your property. Learn how to run on your property. Take daily walks with your equipment, fully equipped. Put on your equipment. Make it a weekly thing. Choose a day in the week. Put all your gear on, and go on a walk. Just walk about with your gear. Learn how it works. Learn how you will react wearing your gear. It's just like driving a car. Every time you get in a new car, you have to kind of figure out where that car is on the road. You have to learn, this car reacts a little differently than the car I'm used to. Same with your gear. Your gear is going to do the same thing for you. If you're not used to wearing your gear, when the time comes to wear it, you won't be used to it. So make that a thing. Alright, sorry, my camera ran out of storage. I had to delete some things. Step number 6. Practice starting a fire from scratch. In my opinion, every human being should know how to start a fire from scratch. Now, from scratch, I don't mean without matches or without a lighter. That's not what I'm saying. You can use a lighter, you can use matches. But you'll be very surprised of how many human beings don't know how to start a fire without a guidebook or start a fire from scratch. A lot of camping people, when you see people out in the trails, you might go to a state park and you see people with their fires going and thing. A lot of those fires are prepackaged. A lot of those fires are pre-made, starter fires. Every human being, in my opinion, should know how to start a fire completely from scratch. What do I mean by completely from scratch? I mean you should be able to take a lighter or a match into a forest and use whatever the forest has to offer to make a fire. So say, use sticks, leaves, little branches, all that good stuff. Use that, make yourself a fire. That's a very important trait that is lost, unfortunately. It's a thing that I think everyone should know how to do. Start a fire. It was common knowledge back in the day. Our forefathers, they knew how to do it. I think we should too. Starting a fire from scratch. Now, for the last but not least, in fact, I think this is very, very important. Last but not least. Number 7. Have a game plan and act on it. Practice that game plan. Know what you're going to do when things get hard. Have a plan. Know how you're going to react. You can say, yeah, I have a plan, I have a game plan. Most people do. A lot of preppers have a game plan. They've thought of what they'll do in hard times. But the sad truth about it is a lot of preppers don't act on that. They don't practice that game plan. And that's very dangerous in my opinion. Having a game plan and acting on it, and having a game plan and not acting on it, knowing exactly how the game plan will do. Here's what I mean by act on a game plan. So, you make your plan, you have your things in order, and then you practice that. So, say you have a bug out place 3 miles down the road where no one is. You have a bug out place there. You should be able to put on your gear and go to that bug out place how you would do in a real situation where the chips have fallen. Practice doing that. You should be able to practice, know how you do it. Just know, what I'm saying is just know how you do that. Know how you would react in a situation like that. Practice that. First of all, you should have a game plan either way. You should have a game plan, that's important. Have a game plan. Act on that game plan. Practice that game plan. Have your preps in order. Use them. Know how they work. Know your tools. You can have a gun with 1,000 bullets. That gun is useless if you can't hit your target. Practice. I don't know, a lot of people can't afford to just buy bullets. I know that. But at least you should at least know how to use your weapon, know how to use your tool, know how to use your hammer and your nail. Know how to use your weapon. You shouldn't just be depending on guns. Guns run out of ammo. You should know how to use this. Very important. You should know how to use a staff. The gun should not be your only weapon. Alright, that's all I had to say today. Yeah, use your tools. It's very important. Alright, warriors. Stay prepped. Stay out of the heat. Keep prepping. I'll see you in the field of battle.